I'd been out and I was on my way home, and on my way down the highway, I saw that Beltline Road, which runs by the south side of the airport. I had an electric sign up uh, announcing that the road would be closed the following weekend. And as I drove down that way and I got to the part of Beltline Road that is, you can see the prairie, I noticed that there were earth moving machines and they'd scraped away a piece of the western part of the prairie, and there was activity going on above the prairie. And uh, I became concerned about seeing all that excavation equipment there. And so I made a phone call to Zach Greichen, who's the stewardship director of the Natural Land Institute. And I called him because I figured that perhaps he knew what was going on and could fill me in. Uh, Unfortunately, it turned out that he did not know that there was construction going on.
Like, well, we got to go check this out because, like, any excavation in the prairie, or, from what we had heard from Dan Williams, um, we were super concerned. So went out there and it was like 99 degrees and like full on humidity and just a very unpleasant day to be in an environment where you're exposed to full sun. And yeah, so went out there and the first bumblebee that we saw was a rusty patch bumblebee. It's like, what are the odds? Like, I live in Woodstock, Illinois, and so that's about an hour drive. And just to go there, and that's the first species you see, and then you see the devastation that had occurred on some of the acreage already, and you're like, oh boy, this is a lot bigger than we thought it would be. So really fortuitous that we were able to find those bumblebees, document their occurrence. Super important for just the collective knowledge of our area, our region, but also the site in particular. And yeah, it wasn't just one bumblebee. It was like, we found several individuals, had to chase them all around to try to get a photo. That's all it always goes. And that's actually the first time that I've chased a bumblebee for a photo. Usually it's kind of passive. If a bumblebee presents itself, you're like, oh, cool, And even like, sometimes you can kind of touch them because they're sort of like the name suggests, they're kind of just bumbling around. And nature of the protection that they have, the rusty patch bumblebee in particular, um, its its home, its environment, the required, characteristics of sites where it overwinters or nests, those qualities of a property, of a preserve or any natural area are not protected by its endangered status. The bees themselves are protected, and it's sort of that particular issue is sort of a factor of the nature, I guess, the nature of how it became an endangered species. So, and it was done so recently. People are paying more attention to insects, which is good. If we don't pay attention to insects like this bee or like others that are, on the precipice of extinction, it means a lot more negative things for us than just the loss of an individual species.